Hi, my name is Rachelle Smith, entrepreneur, professional speaker, and author. Last time, I wrapped up the multi part series on the importance of authenticity. And, folks, we all know that could have been a year-long series because authenticity is something that many of us, actually all of us, at some point struggle with in our lives. And many of us, it can be repeatedly, it can be cyclical because society is always challenging you to be something other than what you truly are. And so I challenge you, be authentic. If you want to live your best life, live your best life. Not someone else's best life, live your best life. And I will come back and revisit this topic of authenticity later on this year. But wanted to take a break here from the tough love topics and the Posi-TIPS to drop in a couple of episodes here on higher education. And I know it's a pretty dramatic shift to go from authenticity to higher education, but I have had the absolute opportunity, just the absolute pleasure and opportunity to go undercover. And you all know higher education is something I am deeply passionate about. Just in terms of personal passions, would be higher education and fitness. And so, of course, I do the Fitness Fridays and all of that. But higher education is something I'm a very staunch proponent of. And I just think education is the great equalizer in life. It doesn't matter who you are, where you come from, what your background is, how much money you have or don't have, whatever. Education, particularly higher education, tends to be a great equalizer. And I had the opportunity, and I'm sure we'll continue to have in the future, to go undercover at for-profit colleges. And it has been eye-opening. And in fact, um, those experiences, and I'm sure experiences, with other for-profit colleges and universities I have in the future, have inspired me to do this two-part episode, just kind of off, on a whim, because I think that folks really need to think things through when it comes to choosing a college, and venues and avenues to pursuing higher education in this country, of course, and abroad as well, because with the advent of the internet, that has led to a proliferation of these kind of online colleges and universities. And my eyes have been opened immeasurably from these experiences. And what I do, again, undercover. I love being undercover. I mean, there's just no other way to say it. I love being undercover because you learn and you experience so much that you wouldn't experience otherwise. And so, going undercover, evaluating compliance, evaluating, are there any instances during the interactions where something could be unethical or inappropriate? Those type of things, those type of observational audits that I've done have been so eye-opening. And so, folks, I just want to start out by saying, it doesn't matter if you're a 17-year-old, 18-year-old, high school senior, and you're thinking about where you want to go to college. And I know this is definitely college season as we're ramping up here into the months of March and April, where students will find out which schools they've been accepted to, as well as the financial aid process. After that, how much money they're able to get and all of that. But it doesn't matter if you're, again, a high school senior. It doesn't matter if you're a working adult, working professional. It doesn't matter if perhaps you're even, and happens all the time, 70, 80 years old, and you always had a dream of going to college, and so you decide you want to go back to school. And what I want to do is challenge you to be very mindful, to be mindful of your choices. And I know I have a sales background, and I evaluate salespeople all the time, and so I'm undercover. And so, the sales process and sales techniques and sales tactics are always something to keep in mind. It doesn't matter whether you're buying a car, whether you're buying a house, whether you're in essence buying a college education, investing in a college education, because sales tactics can be the difference between something that's ethical and unethical. And we've seen the news reports, perhaps you have or you haven't, but I've certainly, just being a very staunch proponent of higher education, have seen the endless news reports of this for-profit college, this for-profit university, here, there, being sued by former students or being sued by the government. Some of them have been shut down, again, for unethical practices, for promising potential students and current students, certain incomes after graduation, certain jobs after graduation, and many times these students have experienced none of what they were promised. And so, again, it goes back to sales tactics, it goes back to integrity, it goes back to, again, everything rises and falls, as John C. Maxwell said, on leadership. And so when we think about just what the motives, again, these are for-profit schools, so that lets you know right off the bat what their motives are. Their motive is to make, to make profit. Profitability is so important to these schools, and so where some of them definitely have fallen into that trap of prioritizing profits over people. And so again, you may have instances where a student is totally, not totally sold on an education, or truly doesn't have what it takes, or doesn't have the intellectual aptitude to be able to handle college, particularly an online type of university or whatever, and they've made all these promises and all of this and that, and then the person ends up going into deep debt trying to finance their education, and they never finish. And again, these stories, you can Google it, these stories abound. And so yes, are there instances where for-profit schools and universities are good? Absolutely. They work for people, and they're accredited. Those type of things that are so important. They're not into duping students. They're just not this culture of profits. Again, like I said, profits above people. And that's actually the same trap that the fitness industry in many cases have fallen into, where again, you're prioritizing profitability over your people and what their true fitness goals and needs are. But we'll talk about that on a Fitness Friday. But so think about, again, with these for-profit universities, you have to ask yourself some questions. I mean, this could be a 20-part series, but I just want to challenge you. Particularly if you're a first-generation college student, no one in your family has gone to college. You're the first, and so you're blazing trails. And so there's certain objective resources, such as the U.S. News and World Report. It's something, again, they rate colleges, they rank colleges across the university, all types of colleges, Ivy League, all the way down to, your other schools as well, your more traditional four-year schools that may not be or are not highly selective. And so that's all ranked, and they're looking at various criteria and cost and financial aid and graduation rate. So that is always a great start in terms of evaluating your college options. But I just want to challenge you folks to really think things through. And again, you may be a working adult, perhaps going to get a college degree you always wanted to obtain, or going back to get a graduate degree, and some of these schools are just promising you the world. And you've got to ask the right questions, such as, again, are you accredited? What's your graduation rate? What's your student loan default rate? I mean, these are things that are so important. And if you're falling prey to the sales tactics, which can be, and again, you know what I do. I have a sales background. I evaluate salespeople, and I have just been floored in terms of what I've experienced. And has there been a couple of examples where the person, the admissions person is operated with integrity and all of that? Absolutely. And I was just so glad to see that. But I just want to challenge you with these for-profit colleges and universities. I mean, that could be your college choice ultimately. It can be the difference between success and failure, and achieving your goals and not achieving your goals. And I always want you to achieve your goals. All right. And so don't fall prey. Don't be duped. Don't think about, all these promises are being made to you. Okay, that's fine. These promises are made, but you need to be asking the right questions in terms of how was this information gathered? Okay, a salesperson in any industry, in any field, can tell you anything, can shape data, can shape facts to present a case to you based on what they're trying to achieve. It's to get you to purchase or buy something. All right, but you need to ask for objective facts and information. All right, statistics. Do your homework before you end up spending all this time and all this money potentially on something that is not right for you. All right. And so, folks, I just wanted to share these thoughts with you. I'm actually going to follow up this with some more thoughts on higher education and choosing a college and all of that. But just wanted to share just some of my thoughts for being undercover. and for-profit colleges and universities, and it's just a very interesting dynamic. Again, when education isn't always the top priority or the goal in terms of educating the students, but profitability is, and any times that's the case in any industry, um, a lot of problems are going to ensue. So, folks, take your time, think things through, do your homework, and make a wise choice. And if you don't know, if you're not sure, particularly if you're a first generation college student, reach out to someone, ask. Go to a college counselor. Email them. You would be surprised. Even if you're interested in a particular school, if you know people, if you can connect with some of them on social media, but reach out to people who are in the know. Trust me, there's a lot of good people out there that will want to see you succeed and will want to help you. All right, it may not even be their particular school or university. All right, but many of them are givers and they want to see students succeed and do well. And so do not hesitate to reach out and ask for help. That's probably one of the best pieces of advice that I can give you. If you don't know, find someone who knows. But when it comes to your higher education, I don't care how old you are. I don't care what phase and stage of life you're in. Choose wisely. I thank you so much for your time. Make it a wonderful day.